Supreme Rice. Since the 1930s, supporting Louisiana farmers and communities throughout Louisiana. To find out more, go to supremerice.com.
Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson, welcome to the Tuesday edition. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro, Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Andy Isco with us on Tuesdays. First class, second class, no class on Tuesdays. In cold weather on a Tuesday here in the capital city. Hope you're doing well. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
It's a good morning for Joe Brady, the one-time LSU staffer, one-time New Orleans Saints staffer, and rising star for a few years there with LSU, and then lured away by the Carolina Panthers, is the new head coach of the Buffalo Bills. 5-year deal. Brady, 35 years old, 2 full seasons as the OC in Buffalo. This year, the Bills were 4th in the league in yards per game. They were 4th in the league in points scored per game. And, Jimmy, you and I had this discussion right at the end of the season. We were kind of talking about it as the more jobs hit the market than initially we thought, with jobs like Buffalo and Pittsburgh and Baltimore coming open. Was this the best job of the 10 that were open at the end of the regular season?
Yeah, we discussed it at the end of the show yesterday, and you thought that Baltimore was a little bit better.
But I will hear an argument for Buffalo. To me, they're almost 1-1A. I like Baltimore. Very close. I like Baltimore a little bit better because of the ownership, but it's close. These are the 2 best quarterbacks. Okay, that are of the teams that have openings.
And I think it's already been proven that John Harbaugh's stock is a little bit stronger than McDermott's. Whether that's fair or unfair, I mean, he's got McDermott hasn't been to a Super Bowl. We know the resume, okay? I don't have to bore you with that, but it's both have been, as of late, teams that have lost in position to, with MVP quarterbacks that for some reason we criticize or we hold Lamar Jackson maybe to a little higher standard than Josh Allen, because Allen gets a little bit more of a pass because, man, he's a big part of the 5 turnovers that got them eliminated. Mm-hmm. I mean, but it's a close call between, these 2 jobs. Whatever, to me, you mentioned Pittsburgh. They're clearly separated from Pittsburgh as being a better job.
Because of the quarterback. Yeah, you don't know who the quarterback is there next year.
That's
a big deal.
That's kind of a big deal. And, I mean, they've just tried and tried and tried. But, no, man, this is they're tired of being so close. They want to try and get over the hump. That's a tough spot to be sometimes. The grass isn't always greener, and you might not get, to the edge of getting to the Super Bowl if you make a change. But nonetheless, and I do think there was a little extenuating circumstances with McDermott handled, the defensive back who went down to Cincinnati Monday night game. He handled that so well. Or Sunday night. Was it Sunday night or Monday night? It was a primetime game. But he just, I'm sorry, but the postseason, I mean, it's been a tease. I can't kill the Bills organization for wanting to make a change. I was a little bit more surprised at Harbaugh. I got to be honest with you. He's going to get scooped up way quicker, and he did.
Yeah.
I mean, he was basically interviewing to go. McDermott, not so much. And part of it is, Charlie, because maybe a little Sean Payton type of element, and that Sean Payton came in where the Saints were they just had no winning tradition, and they had lost for so long at Buffalo, and he was part of their rebuild along with Allen. So they gave him a little bit more mileage than maybe some coaches would with the frustrations and the tough losses. But, nonetheless, damn, that's a good job for Brady. I mean, damn, for your first drive. I mean, I know. We thought that he might be getting a head coaching job soon, but man, that's a hell of an opportunity, man.
There's head coaching jobs, and then there's
Yes.
head coaching jobs. You remember when Kirby Smart was it Kirby Smart or Jimbo Fisher turned down a job at Mississippi State? One of the two. I can't remember which one. When they turned it down when they were an assistant coach, and it's like, okay, well, you can have this job, but are you going to be able to keep this job? Are you going to be able to succeed there?
It wasn't Muschamp.
Might have been Muschamp. I'm trying to think of the jobs Kirby Smart turned down before he took Georgia, or the jobs that Jimbo Fisher turned down before he took Florida State. You know, there are jobs, and then there are jobs.
Right. This is a different league, so that's kind of a.
But there's a lot of difference between the Raiders and the Bills right now.
Well, of course,
if you're taking
but I mean,
the job.
the Baltimore roster and the Buffalo roster, they don't come open often.
No.
In the NFL. I mean, now, Charlie, we dealing with college football now. Look, man, the rosters are year to year, so I mean, it's kind of apples and oranges. But the thing is, for two of these jobs to come open, and the Steelers, you're talking about their stability in their ownership, and as far as the organization, understand there. But no, this thing is ready to compete immediately. Period. Well, I mean, they have competed with basically the same rosters. And Baltimore had some injuries. Buffalo has been close. Tell me, give me one that's close to these two recently in the NFL that's opened up.
That would require some
Max?
thought.
I'm open. Yes, it's tough. My point.
Maybe the last when the Eagles fired Doug Peterson, but even that's not a good one. No, I don't know that you have this type of quarterback. The Bills were a top 5 offense this year. They were a top 10 defense, and you have to ask yourself, why haven't they won at the highest level? You have the quarterback in place. For the first few years of Josh Allen, was like, man, he is their rushing attack. Well, James Cook led the league in rushing this year, so that's fixed.
But their rush defense was one of the worst.
But their overall defense was good enough to win.
I understand the rush defense was one of the worst.
Yeah, it was. But, in points per game, it was still in the top 12, and in yards per game, it was still in the top 10. They had enough to win. Now, is this a fresh set of eyes, or is it a fresh set of eyes?
Yards per play defense.
Yards per play, I got to look that up. I got yards per game.
What's the expected the metric defense?
DVOA, it's probably somewhere around 10th to 12th if I'm looking at the other things correctly. Was it a stellar defense? No. Was it good enough to play complimentary football and win? Yeah, it was.
14th in EPA per play.
Okay, there you go. Right in the middle. What about yards per play?
I'll just say that I can't think of one, Jimmy, off the top of my head.
It's hard, man. I mean, Baltimore was the favorite to win the Super Bowl this year.
You don't often get handed a quarterback like this to work with. Those jobs.
So Max Massaro and I were both, right before the end of the season, and so we're involved in this blackjack tournament. And if we did, we got a free future to win the Super Bowl. And I was kind of eyeing down Baltimore, and Massaro was like, "Man, I got to go for a longer shot. They're the favorite." I mean, they're a favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, Jackson, no matter what you think of him, I mean, he's still, he's going to get you to the game. I mean, he's going to be fine in the regular season. He's going to win games. He's going to be in the playoffs, I mean, it's and look, I was more surprised with the Harbaugh thing than the McDermott thing. I mean, I know we talked about it, and the owner has done some screwy things and had some screwy sound bites. Him interrupting the GM and banging on the Coleman deal that the staff wanted that, basically taking shots at McDermott on the way out. Come on, Pagula, but still these jobs just don't. So, and it's also 10, 11 jobs this year. So we usually get a handful. There's the average 5 or 6.
Yeah, that's
been
the most is 22.
So, I mean, it's just, everything is you win a Super Bowl or you just, that's the way it goes, man. And then you know what you had too, Charlie? So there's your college. Does Signetti put pressure on guys to get it done immediately? Of course he does. Okay. All right. But you had so many candidates for Coach of the Year this year. First-year coaches, second-year coaches who completely flipped, things around. McDonald's second year? Unbelievable year. I mean, Limcone, first year. Vrabel, first year.
Second.
Second year for Vrabel? I thought it was first.
No, this is first.
Okay. Cohen's is first.
Yeah, I'm thinking because Atlanta interviewed both Vrabel and Mike McDonald 2 years ago.
Again,
but yes, Vrabel's first year.
I mean, so you had all these new coaches do really great jobs.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you're dealing with the demographic that these guys, it takes a long time to accumulate some capital and a lot of credit to buy one of these teams. So you're dealing with, and then you get, these guys are rounded third in life. They ain't got a whole lot of patience. So, but these jobs just don't come around often, man. McCarthy got fired after he lost a playoff game
in Dallas,
and he had won like 3 straight 11-5.
They were 11-win seasons, 3 in a row.
3 in a row. I mean but you got Jones there, and that's as good as it gets. But these are better. There's no doubt.
You mentioned Ben Johnson too, right? First year coach.
I did not.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yes. No. I mean, yes. No. How do I forget it? I mean, there's so many. I mean, just off the top of my head.
And you think, what is the margin for error here? If you're Sean McDermott, just to take up for him for a second here, he was a big part of building a lot of what they did. Josh Allen turned the ball over 4 times. Is that McDermott's fault? You get a call go against you in Denver where, there was enough dispute over that call. Is that a slam dunk call? No. It could have gone the other way. I don't think it would have shocked the world if it had gone the other way. Is that McDermott's fault? Is it just a matter of maybe catching a break here or there, or did McDermott do something fundamentally wrong?
Yeah, but he's put in position where they need a break also. How many times? They've had a bunch of bad breaks, Charlie. I mean, but
that's the argument to get rid of him. It's like, hey, listen, at some point it's on you. Okay?
No, I mean,
you had more than one
but
chance.
But guess what? You got the biggest break of anything. You got Josh Allen at quarterback healthy. How many games has he missed in those playoff losses because of injury? None.
Almost, yeah.
No, name me one. None.
No.
Okay, so I mean, how many has he played poorly in? Well, this one he turned the ball over a lot. So this is. It's the culmination. It's not the isolated
No, it's not that
heel.
one game. It's not that one
game. But he elected the squib kick. Trust me, they need to get to a Super Bowl to overcome that memory. That's not going anywhere. Right. The Buckner thing never went away till they got one. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, it's just fair or unfair. And he was in charge of squibbing that kick. And it's just, to give Mahomes and them a chance for Buckner to kick the field goal and send it in OT.
Do you think Brady will be successful here?
And let me say one thing about bad luck or two there. Flipping a coin, you don't think that's kind of bad luck?
Well, yeah.
When the rule was that?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Do you think he'll be successful here?
I think he'll be as successful as McDermott. I think they'll be in the playoffs every year. Unless Allen goes down. And how many? He hadn't missed any. Has he missed any starts?
I don't know if he's missed any. I
really don't recall him missing any significant time.
No.
So I think that can they get over the hump? I don't know.
See, that's the thing. I
don't know.
I have full faith that Brady will get him back to the playoffs next year. That's a very good roster.
And
you got the quarterback.
And you might lose a little of your locker room because they do. McDermott, as much as they give a little bit on defense, he takes his pieces, which are not overwhelming sometimes, and makes them at least competitive and respectable defensively. I mean, this is probably one of their lowest metrics. If you average his the DBOA defense over this run or his time, I bet they're better than 14 on the average. And I think there's part of him that. So you can give up some of that, trying to get over this hump. I get it. But, man, he has done some head-scratching things in game management as well.
If I'm a Bills fan today, I have no doubt that Brady will get them back to the playoffs next year. They'll be in contention to win the division. They may have home field for some or even maybe all of the playoffs. It's when it comes to that crunch time. I don't know if Josh Allen's going to – maybe next year he hits the open receiver, okay? Maybe next year they get a call. Is that on Brady? You know, Allen missed some throws. He missed some throws at the end of the season. In a playoff game, he missed some throws. Forget about, the bad luck in the round. He missed some throws. Does that get fixed? What's different about Joe Brady? Are they going to change defensive staff or what?
You know, one thing, they were actually better this year on the tush push than Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. What took them a year to figure it out? A big mistake when they got jammed against Kansas City on fourth down on the quarterback sneak. Yeah,
you know
what I mean? Like
they tush pushed 10 yards against Jacksonville.
Yeah, well, it cost them the game in the conference championship.
Yes, it did.
In Kansas City last year. So, I mean, they're just hard to get. I mean, so it's part of it. And this hire's not made without his blessing.
Right.
That's important. Charlie. You asked the question if it'll be successful. I'll just tell you this. This caught everybody off guard. This surprised me. He was 5% on Kalshi like an hour ago when this was made. This came out of left field, and the big reason why, the Buffalo fan base does not like Joe Brady. I mean, I'm looking at Reddit right now, and I've seen this all season. So let me get this straight. This is what one Redditor said. We've been calling for the heads of Brady and Bean all season, and instead they both get promotions. Bleep my life. Like, this is universal. They did not like Joe Brady. For whatever's worth, the fourth best offense, they feel like they should be better with James Cook and Joe Brady and Josh Allen. And so it is I'm looking at this. There are people talking about honestly would take a losing season next year if it meant getting rid of both Bean and Brady next year. They do not like this.
I can get asking the question, what's different about him? I'm asking that same question. What is different about Joe Brady?
He's on the offensive side of the ball as opposed to the defensive ball, and he has a previous relationship. He has a relationship with your biggest star.
I think that
you're not.
For sure.
And it's not the NBA, but. This is, you're clearly not making this move without the blessing of Josh Allen. And Allen's got to clean it up.
He does.
He's got to clean it up in the postseason on some things, man.
He turned the ball over 4 times. The most of any game in his career, he does it in the playoffs.
As much as I like Allen better than Jackson. Clearly better than Jackson. But for some reason, maybe I'm following that category. They seem to give him more passes with these mistakes than they do Jackson, because we hammered Jackson last year for those 2 critical mistakes in the game at Buffalo. Before the tight end dropped the 2-point conversion, he had 2 critical turnovers that were probably the difference in the game, and Jackson had to scramble them back. But then again, we hammer him for that. But man, that was sloppy by Allen, man. He's a big part of those 5 turnovers.
Bills fans much prefer Brian Daboll. He is now set to get the Titans OC job per Adam Schefter.
But you don't think they ran Daboll and say, hey, give me some feedback on Daboll and Brady?
It does seem
have to. They had. Pagula had to do that, huh, Charlie?
I think it's a player.
He had to.
Josh Allen.
Yeah,
I think he's probably responsible for this. So okay,
and who's their number 1 guy? Josh Allen.
That's who you got to keep.
But when does a player recommend somebody he hasn't worked with? It never happens.
Right.
It's undefeated.
We're here at Mike Anderson's, Wesley at Nicholson, right here in Oyster Bar.
Hire Archer.
we rag on that all the time. Don't ask the players.
The players. Somebody just did that. They hired their assistant coach, huh? Taddy.
Yeah.
Cashamati.
Yeah, well, again, the players are the last people. I know it sounds terrible, but they're really the last people you want to ask in this stuff. What's for lunch?
Mike Anderson's, Charlie. You know that. Michael's behind the bar, shucking away, man. It's oyster night. These chilly temperatures, but our oysters, actually, that's great for our oysters. So they're a little bit more firm, a little bit more salty, a little bit cleaner in these cooler temperatures. So it's one positive out of these cooler temperatures. So the sun is out. Come on, it's getting up to 50. And so tonight at 5 to 9, here in the Oyster Bar, we will have our oysters on special. Again, half off all raw oysters. all evening long here at Mike Anderson's on Tuesday. So come on by and see us. Of course, we got great lunch menu, including the Bayou plate that gets a little sample of everything. A little cup of seafood gumbo, a little cup of crawfish etouffee, a couple of fried shrimp, piece of fried fish, some coleslaw, hush puppies. Talk about good stuff, man. So great lunch specials over here, all generous portions here at Mike Anderson's.
Live at Mike Anderson's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Show's available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net, Handycast up on YouTube. Brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com, supporting our Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. Happy 90th anniversary to our friends over at Supreme Rice. Late last night, number one team in the country got a little bit of a scare, but it wasn't until real late.
So bizarre, huh?
Arizona was at BYU last night. They one of three remaining undefeated teams in the country. They were a small favorite. I think it finished 1.5. Yeah. And for most of the night, Arizona was comfortably in front.
13.5.
They were up by as many as 19. They led. I looked this up. They led for 79% of the game. And I don't have the stat in front of me, but I would say of that 79%, maybe 80% of the 79% they were up double digits.
Yeah, pulled away about 5 minutes ago, 6 minutes ago, and 13.5. 13.5 and up 10 with a minute to go.
Yeah, 50 seconds to go, it's 8 points. So you get 41 seconds to go, it's 8 points when BYU hits a bucket. So they got this, right? And then you get a tech and a turnover, and all of a sudden
fouling a guy down low for no reason, give him the layup.
And all of a sudden BYU's got a shot to win this thing.
Got a call. The refs get caught up in the crowd, and they gave them a kind of a real cheap call, when they're trying to inbound the ball, a push off on the team inbounding. Yeah. How often do you see that?
Almost never.
Yeah, and then they had the ball down one.
They've got a shot to win it.
They have the ball down one with like 10, 12 seconds to go.
And the kid makes a tremendous play to come from the backside and get the block at the end. BYU is very good. Their best player, A.J. Destagno, who's going to be a top pick. Deboncha. I would keep fighting with that. Did not shoot the ball particularly well last night. He got his points, but he really struggled shooting the basketball. But that's a really good BYU team. Their losses are to Texas Tech in Lubbock and UConn at, well, they're calling it a neutral site in Boston. That's really not a neutral site. And now this. So that's a really
great team. Arizona's better.
That's what I was going to ask you. Arizona.
That's a tough league. They play a tough non-conference schedule. They've won on the road. They've gone down to Alabama and won comfortably. I mean, they just we talk about the big guy Pete, and how he's kind of poor man's Carl Malone in college. I mean, just a big physical guy that's got some skills. But those guards, man, were tough last night. And Provo is a brutally tough place to play. But Arizona's just better. And they're just so consistent. They got more options. Lloyd, he knows how to put together a roster. There's no doubt. And Charlie, they just and like just this kind of caught, like you said, Deboncha was a little bit off. He's shooting. I mean, he's a freshman. I mean, he's going to have some good. He's an excellent free throw shooter. I mean, almost like a little. I'm trying to compare, but almost kind of like he's so explosive and with his leaping ability and his shot, almost a little Kobe Bryant type of measurables. I mean, I hate to go that route. I mean, and he plays so hard. Yeah. But man, like one little sequence, Arizona scores to maybe go like up 3. They inbound the ball. The guy hides behind the guy. He's inbound. Poof, just takes it for an easy layup. Like just steals the inbound pass after makes it a 4-point trip. Like just kind of little things that maybe Arizona was just a little bit more keyed in than BYU.
They're just a little bit better, and they survive this thing. When you're the number one team and you're undefeated and you're going into a place like this that has got a shot, but they're not the favorite in BYU. You know you're going into a hornet's nest, okay? You know that this is going to be the best crowd of the year in Provo. It's going to be really hard.
As tough of a place to play in the country, because of the altitude.
You come out with a win. They shot about 53% from the floor.
39 minutes, it was kind of a no contester.
It really was. They were.
I mean, they're up 10 with a minute to go.
They are amazing. They're the number one team in the net. They've got the most power, most Q1 wins, tied with Duke. They are pretty much the co-favorites with Michigan. Ben Rivers has got Michigan just a little bit ahead of them to win the national championship right now, but it's close.
Michigan took so much money when they were beating everybody by 30, including that Players' Era tournament, beating a team like Gonzaga, who was ready to – they had the balance in their roster to make a run this year. Some of the new players and the holdovers, and, of course, few as a coach. And that just caught everybody's attention. And they just kept beating people by that much. They said that was one of the lowest favorites, future bets, Michigan to win the NCAA tournament that they've had in a while. And so for Arizona to catch up with them with some of that money is noteworthy.
These wins, to me, are just as impressive as those 30-point wins in non-conference, or maybe you're at a neutral site or whatever. Hey, look, that's impressive. This, when you go on the road in the heart of conference season to a team that's got a player like this, and you almost blow it, but you get yourself together and you make a play, a defensive play at the end, and you win. These are some of the most impressive wins to me, because maybe for 38 minutes you didn't face any adversity, but in the last minute and a half, 2 minutes, you sure did, you won anyway.
Well, you gain more out of it, because if they just finish it off and win by 12, you have no coaching points in this game, because they were flawless. But no, how to close out a game. Hey, all you got to do is remember Provo. I mean, come on. Remember Provo.
Well, we almost blew it, but we didn't. We made a play
at the end. The best Big 12 of recent memory, best Big 12 run, it was COVID year. And that was a Baylor team who just destroyed everybody, and they only lost one road game that year, I think a conference game. But then they blew out Houston in the semis and blew out a great Gonzaga team in the finals. But this one, this Big 12 and this newly aligned Big 12, it's a brutal. You got 6 teams, Charlotte, that could win it all on the Big 12. It is amazing, man. Texas Tech, Baylor's in last place. Kansas, when they get right, you're talking about Arizona. Help me out with some of Iowa State.
Well, BYU.
Devontae they're just getting better and better. And they're still, remember, they altered their play and their style because they're going way more ISO. They never did that.
Cincinnati's a top 25 team.
Not them.
They are a top 25 team.
No, they're 2-5 in the league.
What am I looking at? Cincinnati.
You looking at the girls?
No, I got them.
They're 2-5 in the league.
Season?
Okay,
they're playing 1-6 Baylor.
I got the wrong. I got the strength of schedule. They got the 25th best strength of schedule. My bad.
Well, there you go.
Looked at the wrong team.
Does LSU have the bet? Maybe we can get McMahon in the tournament. They have the 25th best.
That would be tough. That would be tough.
It's cold, Charlie.
I noticed.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all of you real estate closings. 296-0060. Full service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Michael Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody choose but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title. 296-0060.
Live at Mike Anderson's. Live at lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man. One man of many sports bets. The one and only Andy Isco.
Andy, how you doing, my man?
Doing fine, Jimmy. Hope you're all well, and congratulations, Joe Brady, now the new coach at Buffalo. I think Josh Allen's quite happy about that.
We think Josh Allen hired him.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I that's what it screams. A lot of Bills fans, they They were scapegoating Brady. Let me ask you, does Allen get a little bit of a pass? Because it seems like the Bills find so many. He makes plays, winning plays. It's not like but he also has, he has made some poor. The Denver game is only. I mean, that's a lot on him. Is he getting a little bit of a pass as far as some of the blame for the Bills' postseason disappointments, or does he not deserve any?
Well, it's hard to say, especially with some of the controversial calls in that game against Denver that went against him. I mean, if one of those pass interference calls isn't made, maybe Denver goes down and gets a score and wins the game, and who knows what happens after that. He's made some bad decisions, but even the way that he played in some of those games, I have to believe that there's some sort of injury that maybe wasn't totally affecting him, but bothered him a little bit because he didn't look comfortable a lot of times. Yet he still made big plays, and they had some designed runs for him that he did very well on. I still remember I was listening to a show, I think, this morning. Maybe I was watching it, I forget. And they said, what was your favorite play of the playoffs so far? And to me, it was that 10-yard tush push that they had in that game against, I think it was Jacksonville. Again, he's a tough kid. And, look, a lot of Buffalo's problems this year were related to the defense more so than the offense. And a lot had to do with injuries. And, I'd like to see someone's probably done it somewhere. I would like to see a study, let's say going back over each of the last 5 years, of the number of games missed by key players on every team, ranked from the least to the most. And I wouldn't be surprised if when you took a look at that list, and I'd say you would list anybody who missed a game who, when they played 50% of the available snaps. So he would be considered the starter or the key player. And I would not be surprised at all if in the top 10, probably 8 of the top 10 of the teams that had the fewest injuries made the playoffs.
Sean Payton's decision to go for it with the backup quarterback, 4th and 1 in the red zone, or attempt a very short, makeable field goal. We know what happened. Your thoughts?
I said at the time, take the points. You could tell it was going to be. Now, this is before the snow came. This is back, I think, in the first quarter. They would have gone up 10-0. I said, take the points in what figures to be a very low-scoring game. Forget about the snow. That may or may not have been the severity known in the forecast. But you knew the winds and you knew the temperature. It was going to be very difficult moving the ball and cashing in. Take those points. Now, we don't know what would have happened if things went forward. I believe the other day I heard also on that Patriots play that set up that touchdown, that it should have been ruled incomplete, that the officials blew it. I heard that about 48 hours later, a little bit.
I'm critical of the call as well, especially with your backup quarterback who's going to be reduced. I mean, we know about the him not being able to, him not throwing a pass in so long, and he did connect on the long one earlier to set up that touchdown, another pass for him to Sutton later. But also, you just wonder, and it changes the complexion of the game. To Stidham up 10-0, Charlie, have to try and make a play instead of taking a sack on the play. He gives up 7. I mean, you think that his mindset is a little bit different there?
Not only his mindset, it's on the other side. I think it puts pressure on Drake May to feel like he has to make a play.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's inviting him to make a mistake. The plays that he made Sunday were mostly with his feet. If he's down 2 scores and he feels like he's got to try to push the ball down the field, then the possibility of a mistake for him ratchets up. But, yeah, it calms Stidham down, too. Absolutely.
Did the better team win?
By the way, the other thing on one of Luck's field goals were now, and I heard it the other day, is that they were only 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage when the ball was snapped, not the typical 8, because they couldn't see the correct lines because of the snow, and that was the one where Taylor actually tipped that field goal attempt.
Yeah, it's actually 6 instead of 7. So they tipped it. And I mean, well, those things happen. So, did you catch CBS is trying to brighten up the lines and the numbers in the field, and it was almost like usually green screen, but it was like a white screen. where you could tell where the ball was, but
I appreciated that.
Kalavion Chasson was invisible near the line.
Yeah.
At one spot. Did the best team win?
I was surprised on one of those. I think it was that game. Maybe it was in the other game where it was really a controversial call as to whether or not they made the first down, and they didn't use I think one of the coaches were looking for the overhead view. It may have been in the Seattle game, and they didn't go to that virtual thing that they've been using. And very often you see it's a 1-inch difference either way, because that turned out to be a critical play. I don't recall the specifics, but for so many different plays that that were controversial in the games as far as the officiating goes. But that was another thing. They did not use the technology that they had when it comes down, especially to critical points in the game.
The Drake May quarterback sneak on fourth down. They were talking about remember Peyton challenging the SMU, the overhead.
Yeah, that's the one. Yes, that's the one. Yes, yeah. By the
Charlie,
way,
do you think he got it?
If I'm correct, Drake May has been sacked 5 times in each of the 3 playoff games.
Oh, well, our homeboy here is a rookie. He's going to play a long time in the NFL, there's no doubt. But right now against these matchups, against Oweh of the Chargers, against Anderson with Houston, and yes, here against Benito, I mean, it's a tough assignment. And they gave him some help at times this time, but that's part of it. I mean, he's his left tackle. So, I mean, yeah, the pressure is creating some of the sloppy play and some of the I guess just the lack of production on the offensive side for New England. All right, did the NFC game, did the better team win?
Well, they both put up. The quarterbacks did a lot, but I was talking. I think I mentioned it on Sunday, which is why I like the over in the game. Is that the Rams' defense has been a shell of itself over the second half of the season. I think it went back to that first loss in Carolina when they were huge favorites and they lost, and they had to come from behind even in the game, the first game that they played in the playoffs. They had to come from behind to get the win against Carolina. So I was not surprised that Seattle had the kind of success that they had, because they had it even when they came back in that game. They were down 30-14 against the Rams. And in fact, in the first game that they lost, the 21-19, they dominated the statistics over the Rams, the way the Rams dominated the statistics in Game 2 that Seattle came back to win. So I was not surprised that Seattle had the success that they had, and their defense played well. And I would say the better team won, but not necessarily the more talented team.
The Rams almost 500 yards of offense again against a defense and nobody else can move the ball on. And, Matthew Stafford over 10 yards an attempt, 3 TDs, no interceptions. He was phenomenal, man. That's unbelievable performance out of the expected MVP at their place against this respected defense, and they both lost these games. And the one constant in both of those were giving up points on special teams. Because the thing that Darnold did,
that was a weakness of the Rams, and at the same time, it was the strength of the Seahawks.
The best thing that looking at the box score, Darnold did 7 of 13 on third downs. That's a lot of him. It's a lot of him throwing the ball. 7 of 13. That's a high percentage against the defense like the Rams. So anyway, now we're set for the Super Bowl, and so I mean, Darnold against a team that, well, they're not going to be able to. One thing, they're not going to let you run the ball a little bit, so it's going to be Darnold who's going to have to get it done against the New England Patriots. And Vrabel and these Patriots, man, they are making it hard. They on quite a little bit of a defensive run as well.
Oh, they've been very well, especially against run. I've not made a decision yet. I felt that the number of 4 to 4.5 was the right number based upon, a lot of it had to do with the strength of schedule, although obviously the Patriots played a tougher strength of schedule in the playoffs, not just the top defenses they played, but they played 3 games against, I think, top 5 defenses. But the numbers that I came up with do justify the number. If you take a look at the raw numbers over the course of the season, which, again, doesn't consider strength of opposition, those numbers are very, very close. So really the case you can make is how much emphasis do you put on the strength of schedule? And maybe right now you don't place that much because both teams were challenged by good teams in making it this far. Now, the Rams, of course, Seattle played one less game because they had the bye, but, they also played a couple of teams, although San Francisco probably the way they played in that game would qualify as not a very good team, but that's just one game, and that's how good Seattle was in that game. So I haven't decided what to do in this game because the number, side and total, are exactly where I put it, which means I'm going to have to look for some other edges that may not be considered in that in those lines.
All right, Andy. We will talk to you next week, and we will get some finalized opinions. Football Sunday is done, man. We appreciate your picks all Sundays, all season long on Sundays. A nice profit again for another year for all of our contributors combined. So how about it, man? Another good season, successful season on Football Sunday.
Yeah, only about another 8.5, 9 months before we start it all over again.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So we will talk to you next. Get your props ready for us. Anything else that you want to give for us for Super Bowl picks, totals, props, you name it. You can load us up for our Tuesday show next week. We're looking forward to it.
I will be more than ready for that a week from today.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you again. Jeez. Again, now,
Andy
Cole.
Isco.
Andy Isco. I mean, Lord, I'm trying to find something, and I'm frostbitten over here or something. I don't know. Joe Brady. This cold, man. I'm bumped up. We got to talk about our friends. With our friends over at K&M Automotive. That's what I know. K&M Automotive. Our buddy.
Jason Payne.
What's that?
Jason Payne.
Jason Payne, he's working hard today. He's not going to let him shut down, but go see him over there on Seguin, near Perkins. It's the only place I did my vehicle. If that oil light comes on, you don't know what's going on. You got to go see him over at Jason Payne and K&M Automotive. Takes care of my son when he forgets to change his oil in his Jeep, and takes care of me when I got something going on, man. So, and if he can't handle it right then, he's going to schedule for a better time that's going to be more convenient for you and more convenient for them. So, go by and check out my buddy Jason Payne at K&M Automotive. It opened 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on Seguin Lane, just off of Perkins, right across from Ambrosia Bakery.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So Joe Brady getting a promotion to head coach with the Buffalo Bills. Another former LSU coordinator on the move today, Durante Jones, who was here for a year, final year of Ed Orgeron's tenure, is moving on to Washington from Minnesota. He's taking over for Joe Witt. Commanders were 5-12 this year after going 12-5 a year ago. Durante Jones was here for a hot minute. It seemed like that was at the very end of Ed Orgeron's tenure. He was in here for a year and then jumped right back to the NFL. It was the only year that he coached in college. Been in the NFL since 2016. So they bring him in Washington, where he was born and played at Morgan State. So another former LSU coordinator on the move. Durante Jones headed to Washington. We'll take a break. The first class, second class, no class. When we come back on the other side, we're at Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Come on by and check us out on this cold day here in the Oyster Bar. Hope to see you here for lunch. Live at lunch for Mike Anderson's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch, first class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
No man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
Life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
We return here at Mike Anderson's, Wesley at Nicholson. First class, second class, and no class. For first class, we salute who's the best mid-major team in college basketball. True mid-major team. I'm not talking about Gonzaga. Best true mid-major team in college basketball.
St. Louis?
St. Louis, very good. The Billikens are 18-1. They've got a top 20 NET. Let me get some props to a guy named Josh Schertz. Josh Schertz, their second-year coach. Got a pretty impressive resume. Spent 13 seasons as a head coach in the Division II level. Won 9 conference championships, 5 tournament championships in that 13 seasons at Lincoln Memorial, South Atlantic Conference. Went on to Indiana State. First team went 11-20. Third team went 32-7. NIT runners-up. Took the job at St. Louis last year. Went 19-15. This year they're 19-1. Won 85% of his conference games at the Division II level. At Indiana State, won 59%. 72% of his conference games at the Atlantic 10 Billikens. None of those teams were particularly good the year before. Indiana State had a winning record the year before he got there, but none of them were setting the world on fire. St. Louis was 13-20 and 5-13 in conference play when he took over them and turned them around into an 11-7 team a year ago, and now 7-0 in the conference. Took over Travis Ford, the old Kentucky point guard who also coached at Oklahoma State. Josh Schertz is an interesting guy. 50 years old, went to Florida Atlantic. Google him. He wins. He's won at 3 different spots right now. I give at first class. Have you seen him play? I saw about half the game with the Bonnies the other night, Jimmy. It was an easy win for St. Louis. So I haven't seen him a lot, but he's got a really nice resume. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
He's got the guy with the goggles, Avila.
Yeah,
Avila. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's his guy, and they played St. Bonnie's the other night. They
thumped them.
Thumping them, baby, at their place. I mean, thumping them. It's like 22 points in the first half.
Can I dare say St. Louis's profile kind of matches a little bit of what we're seeing in Buckyball? They play fast. They attack the rim or they shoot threes. There's a lot of comps to what they try to do offensively. They're number 1 in both effective field goal percentage, offense and defense in the country.
I think Josh Schertz is one of those guys that in January, when everybody's still unwinding from football and the Super Bowl still hasn't been played, very few people know who, outside of college basketball junkies, know who he is. I think by March that's probably going to change. I think that's going to be a name you're going to hear an awful lot about. Anyway, St. Louis.
What is it? Top 20?
Net?
Yeah.
18.
Yeah.
18. Their one loss on the season was to Stanford by a point out in one of those tournaments in California. So their schedule is nothing special. It's, they're in the A10. It's okay. Strength of schedule is 130, but they're winning just about every one of these games, and they're winning most of them fairly pretty good. Yeah, they're it's a name to watch anyway. Josh Schertz
and what's his name? Green Bay.
Doug Gottlieb.
With Gottlieb, he's in the same league.
No, they're not in the A10.
No,
St. Louis is in the A10.
Green Bay's in the Horizon.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he's finally coaching full time. He was trying to.
I know that's what I'm saying.
They're winning now.
He got some. He's winning.
You put some
shifted
muscle into it. You put some time into it. It does make a difference, right?
Yeah.
These are not part-time jobs, man.
No.
You can't do that.
No.
Second class. This is good with a chance to be great. I think this one definitely qualifies. So among the things that go on national championship game week, we talked about the summit of the commissioners and trying to get a playoff format. It's also a time where the officials get together and start to talk about potential changes for next year. Steve Shaw, National Coordinator of Officials, longtime SEC guy, NCAA Secretary of Rules Editor, said last week there's going to be a focused discussion on the targeting rule. It's not going away, but what they're going to talk about is something we have discussed here a lot of times, is are there going to be different targeting rules. And for the first time, the officials are going to take a long look at this. If there will be a difference between a 15-yard penalty and whether that player needs to be disqualified. Now, the targeting rule is working. Since 2020, you basically got half as many of these calls as you were having when they put the rule in. They were doing it once every 4 games. Now it's about once every 8 games. So you're not having as many of these things called. It has definitely changed the way that coaches have coached this, and it has changed the behavior as far as contact to the head and neck area. But I don't know anybody that likes the ejection that goes with it, unless it is something really blatant. And Xavier Lucas, a Miami cornerback, who was out of the first half of this game, there was a lot of light on this because his hit on the Ole Miss receiver, Caden Lee, was more of a shoulder to helmet than it was a helmet to helmet. But they call it targeting, and once they call it targeting, they had to throw him out. So now what they're saying is, listen, do we need to look at this a little bit closer, and can we go to similar to college basketball, flagrant 1, flagrant 2, or are you going to be able to go with a targeting call that doesn't have a ejection that is attached to it? Shaw says if we get to that, we have to be really good in our definition of what is a flagrant targeting call. The guiding principle is we cannot back up on targeting. This is the first opening, Jimmy, that we've seen on this because they've been pretty rigid. They were going to get helmet-to-helmet contact out of the game. They were going to get targeting on a defenseless player out of the game. They were going to get launching out of the game. And they've cleaned it up an awful lot. This is the first opportunity now, I think, to eliminate the ejection. And that's something, frankly, I'd like to see. I understand this is putting more of an objective view of the official into play here, but I'm for it. I hope they get there. Any thoughts on the targeting rule?
Targeting in football?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice to be able to throw a flag and not kick him out the game.
And that's what we've all wanted.
I
think I watched football for 10 years before I ever saw somebody get thrown out of the game in the 80s. You had to really – I remember the lineman for Green Bay that picked up McMahon and body slammed him from behind. Okay, yeah, you got to throw that guy out of the game. But the rest of it, a 15-yard penalty is usually sufficient in my mind, unless it's really, really blatant.
Right.
So that's hopefully they'll get to that. But Steve Shaw said they're going to take a good long look at this. So good with a chance to be great. No class was easy this week. And before I say this, I'm not blaming Shedeur Sanders for this. All he did was go out and play football, and they just elected him to the Pro Bowl yesterday. The Pro Bowl has been a joke for a long, long time, and I wouldn't care at all. I haven't watched a Pro Bowl in a very, very long time, and I'm not going to watch the flag football stuff that they're doing. But for years, and I think this has gone away, and if it hasn't, it needs to go away completely, Pro Bowls were in a discussion for Hall of Fame resumes. How many Pro Bowls did he make, especially with linemen? Offensive linemen whose stats are not necessarily readily available. So how many Pro Bowls did he make? We got out of that a long time ago. We've talked about all-pro teams, which are a lot more down the line, and they've abolished the Pro Bowl game. But yesterday they put Shedeur Sanders in the Pro Bowl. Drake May, of course, can't play. He's got other things to do with the Super Bowl. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. Mahomes is hurt. Nix is hurt. Lawrence declined. Can we please have some kind of, little notation here that nobody wants to do this anymore and that the NFL has clung to this cash grab of a thing? As long as we're not talking about Pro Bowls as something that is actually on your resume and counts anymore, because clearly it doesn't. They're letting the fans vote on a third of this, the players vote on a third of this, and both of them have serious biases, and, of course, the media does too. But I didn't think of Shedeur Sanders as a Pro Bowl quarterback. I'm sorry. I mean,
not quite.
Joe Burrow had better numbers, and he only played half the season. So, I mean, Geno Smith almost had better numbers than Shedeur Sanders. So, as long as this look, if you want to go have this fantasy camp this weekend in Orlando, that's fine. Just let's not talk about Pro Bowls as meaning anything anymore. They haven't in a long time. And when I was a long time ago, I actually liked the Pro Bowl. There were some neat things you could see in it, like the year the Saints, all 4 linebackers made it, and everybody played in the game. Went to Hawaii. That is long in the past. So, it's like the minor bowl games, Jimmy. We watch because we like football. If you want to watch these guys because you want to see them this weekend, that's fine. Let's just not pretend that it means anything anymore.
No, there was a time where most of the players did play. And you'd see a little bit of opt-out here and there, but maybe somebody
had to really be hurt.
Somebody to just fight out the Super Bowl or something like that. And they would still be there. And then they just started kind of leaving early. And that's like, okay, well, what's going on? And some of them got criticized for that. But it's and then the safety, ultimate safety thing. I mean, nobody's really tackling. It's not a great game, but there are people throwing some money on some of them, and they're just trying to figure it out. It just kind of it's run its course. It's run its course
by a long. Even if you wanted to do this, even if the players wanted to do
the
this,
longer the seasons, these guys, that's the last thing they want to do.
Right, and think about the teams that don't make the playoffs. You're asking them to come back in. And they've abolished the game, so it's a moot point now. You're asking them to come back 5 weeks later and play in another football game. I mean, they're not in football shape at that point. So this was a good idea a long time ago. It's long since passed its course, run its course. We're brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. Celebrating their 90th anniversary this year down in Southwest Louisiana. All of our Supreme Rice grown, milled, and processed in Southwest Louisiana. So whether it's the Jasmine, the Pawball, the new Low-Glow rice, which is especially for diabetics, you can enjoy delicious Supreme Rice, your etouffees, your gumbos, gumbo weather, your stews, your white beans, your red beans. Make it with Supreme Rice. Support our Louisiana farmers. Climate Smart program, reducing methane emissions, promoting water conservation. They're ensuring that future Louisiana farmers will enjoy those same benefits. Pick up Supreme Rice wherever you buy rice. You're going to save some money in the process. All your AG food stores, your Walmart, your Rouse's, etc. Pick up Supreme Rice. For more information, great recipes, go to SupremeRice.com. Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we're also brought to you by the Thibodeau Store, the Pierre Part Store, now in La Rose and La Place, open there as well. We're getting closer to college baseball season. If you're doing some tailgating, huge selection of griddles, grills, crawfish, and jambalaya pots that you can pick up there. Big green egg cookers for your home outdoor cooking areas. Lots of different choices for you there. If you're getting your property cleaned up here in the new year, lots of cleaning supplies and storage supplies that are on special right now on the website, thethibodeaustore.com. You can get to all 4 of the properties from that one site. Same-day pickup available on just about every item, and delivery available on a number of items: patio furniture, tool storage, cordless power tools, outdoor power equipment. Get it all at the Thibodeau Store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau, open until 5:30. Pierreport Store, Highway 70 in Pierreport, and now open in La Rose and Lockport as well. TheThibodeauStore.com. Looks like Miami found a quarterback. Darian Mensah and Duke have agreed to a settlement of the contract. Tell me if you ever thought you would hear this story in college football, Jim. A guy, we talked about Mensah a lot, formerly with Tulane, went to Duke. Duke got him off the market really quick. We thought he could have done better than that as far as a school. Mm-hmm. He led the led the ACC in passing yards, led the ACC in touchdowns, and Duke won the ACC title. It was a down ACC, but they won a title. So you'd have to say he had a successful year, and the team had a successful year. But it was a 2-year deal. I think you brought that up a bunch. He signed a 2-year deal, binding or not. That deal was allegedly worth close to right at $4 million for this coming season. But Mensah wanted out. He flirted with the idea of going pro and decided to stay in college, and Miami wanted him very badly. And Duke was like, hang on, we got a deal. But they really didn't want to get into an ugly, drawn-out deal, so they came to some kind of agreement here to let him go. I don't know if he had to pay any money back or if he just has to forfeit the money that would be coming, but he is headed to Miami.
Oh, the money that's coming.
And Miami would pay that, whatever it is. We're talking about buyouts, essentially, right?
Yes. So I mean, it seems to be they settled. So maybe if it's $4 million, maybe they're going to take $2.5-3 million from Miami.
They could do that if they decided they needed restitution. If they wanted to be nice about it, which I don't think I would be, but they could just say, hey, look, we paid you, let's say they paid him $4 million for the first year and do $4 more million this year. You say, okay, you made your $4 million. We won the conference. You fulfilled that. We'll let you out of the second year of this deal. We're not going to pay you any more money. You don't owe us any money. Probably not. They're probably getting something from Miami. I don't know how much.
No,
but they didn't want this to get any uglier than it did. And at the heart of this is what violates what constitutes tampering. Has Miami tampered with Mensah?
Of course they have.
You'd have to say that they did.
No.
This was the whole source of Dabo Swinney's marathon press conference on Friday.
Duke tampered with Tulane.
Yeah, nobody's
because they had this thing set. As everybody's just kind of getting set. I mean, this was one of the first places set for a quarterback that was transferring.
And it was smart by Duke. Duke was aggressive. They went out. They identified their guy. Not only did they get out and get him off the market before he could be tempted by all this other stuff, they took him for 2 years. Looked like a great deal at the time for everybody. And a year later, turns out Duke's not, even with this contract, isn't offered any type of protections. And if they don't make any allegations stick in the Clemson-Ole Miss case, then I don't know if recruiting is ever going to end. I mean, if a signed contract and a kid in class doesn't protect you, then what does? I mean, at any point, anybody can just say, "Oh, breaking my contract, I'll pay the penalty. My new school will pay the penalty," and there is no end to recruiting. What if this happens this summer? Some school has a quarterback go down in summer drills and decides, okay, we'll go buy out the quarterback at pick a school in July because we need a quarterback now. Our quarterback hurt himself. LSU lost Miles Brennan in a fishing mishap on the pier with his flip flop. And he ends up being out for the season. What if somebody else's quarterback goes fishing and hurts themselves? Can you just go sign anybody and just say, okay, we'll pay the buyout. We can have them now?
I'd try.
Well, because at that point, what are your other options? Tennessee still got this case going with Joey Aguilar, and I don't know if he's going to get that the next year. And if they don't, well, they're gonna be pretty thin at the quarterback position. Used to be.
When did they get Nico last year?
Oh, that's. When did they lose Nico last year?
When did Nico to go to UCLA?
Yeah, it was.
That's when they picked up Aguilar.
That's right. So you can go. But of course, last year he was in the late portal last year. That window that is no longer open.
Okay.
Yeah. So but what does it matter? If you can go get a kid that's under contract and just buy out their contract, then recruiting never ends.
Bucky Ball got on the late portal. He got a team.
He did, and
they're pressing like crazy. They are a team to watch, dude. It is complete flip from Buzzy Ball the year before.
Is this a upgrade at quarterback for Miami? From Beck to Mensah? What?
From Beck
obviously
to Mensah?
Obviously, they're losing key defensive linemen next year.
Yeah,
a couple first rounders.
Right. They would have loved to have some of those defensive players for last year, because last year that defense was terrible.
With Cam Ward,
and Cam Ward was lighting up numbers. They had this defense with last year's offense. They probably would.
I think I'd have rather had Mensah last year. It's close. Beck had a good year. Okay, I think I'd rather have Mensah. I think he's a little bit better. I think he's a little bit sharper. Okay, although I got to say that there were a couple of games where he made some big mistakes. The early game against Illinois, he had a rough day. Mm-hmm. There are other games, but overall, I'd probably take Mensah. I think he's a little bit better.
Beck 11th in QBR, Mensah 14th for the season last year, but more of a runner, obviously Mensah.
He's not a big runner, though.
More than Beck. He's got better EPA numbers there.
He's got what?
Expected points added.
Pretty much the same. But
that's why I think he's handling things. He's playing a position that's going to make some people impress at the next level. He's going to be a little bit more fine-tuned within the pocket and trying to extend plays with his legs. I would say very few, like even when Beck was starting to move get some of those key first downs with his legs, that's a rarity for Mensah.
Yeah, negative rushing yards this year.
I mean, he took a team with Duke. You got to say to Miami, had more supporting cast. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that. Their offensive line was good. Their running game was good. Their weapons were good. Defense, they didn't have to. Punting was okay. And Duke didn't have that. And he still got Duke to an ACC championship. To me, it's a clear notch above. I would have had to take Mensah over Beck.
Where would he go if he would have won the draft? Is he redshirted Tulane? He could have gone into the NFL draft if he wanted to this year. 27 career starts. That's over the threshold of what we talk about a lot. He's got NFL size. He's got plenty enough arm.
He's going to be a little undersized.
He's 6'3".
6'2".
He's listed as 6'3", 205. So say he's an inch underneath that. That's big enough. That's
not the.
Oh, he's not Josh Allen size, but he's.
He's not Fernando size.
He's not Fernando. He's bigger than Diego Pavia. They measured him at the Senior Bowl yesterday. See what they measured him at?
Small.
5'9" and change.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was listed at 6 feet. So even if he's a little bit.
He listed him at 6 feet?
Huh?
They listed him at 6 feet?
6 foot.
I thought they listed him at 5'11".
6 foot is what I saw.
Probably early day 3, I would guess. Mensah would go.
I was even thinking he might go on day 2. I was thinking he might be a second or third round pick.
I think you can get a good player dipping down to that area with him.
Beck is projected in that late day 2, early day 3 range.
Because nobody seems to – you get a lot of different discussion. Mendoza's going to go 1, and Simpson is probably going to be the second quarterback off the board and most likely in the first round. But you get to that third quarterback in this draft – you get a lot of different opinions.
And is Chambliss in it?
Right. Is Trinidad Chambliss in it? What do you think of Nussmeier, Aller,
Klubnik,
Beck? Yeah. It's kind of beauty's in the eye of the beholder there. There's not a consensus on who the next quarterback's going to be. I think he would have definitely been in that mix, but he's headed to Miami.
Sawyer Robertson as well. I could see
That's
him
another
going up the draft boards. He's at
big
the Senior Bowl
numbers.
this year.
Big numbers, but they don't.
Yeah, I like Mensah a lot more.
They're not. I haven't heard any of the scouting sites or anything. They never meant, for as good as his overall raw numbers were. You don't see anybody that's like, oh, this guy's real sleep.
220.
His size is
watch
fine.
For him. I could see him go up some boards.
He put up a lot of numbers at Baylor this year.
Don't forget our friends at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Your homeowners association requires wood windows. Man, the perfect spot is to get the Relief Windows to come to your house, evaluate some things. We've got the computer. We'll put up a rendering and So let you know what you're looking at. Modify it exactly how you want. And, man, these rough South Louisiana weather conditions like we're having right now, they're built to last with the RLast gelled windwood. Frame windows come with a 20-year general warranty and a lifetime limited warranty against rot and termites, providing years of beauty and minimal maintenance. So schedule a free quote online at Relief Windows. So do like I did when I needed to replace the windows that were worn out with these weather conditions. Call my friends at Relief Windows. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors. When it comes to retirement, know what questions to ask. Know what your situation is. Just because you're putting money away every month does not mean that you have all of the answers or you're maximizing what you can do. Talk to Phil Fontenot and his staff at Coastal Capital Advisors. They'll answer all your questions because no two situations in retirement are exactly the same. How much do you need to retire? When would you like to retire? What can you expect upon retirement? All those questions answered with Coastal Capital Advisors. Go to coastalcapitaladv.com. Let them do for you what they've done for us, which is give you peace of mind as you head towards retirement. coastalcapitaladv.com. Coastal Capital Advisors, member FINRA, SIPC. Top 5 matchup in college basketball tonight. 3 remaining undefeated teams. We talked about Arizona a little bit earlier. The other one's Miami of Ohio to go along with Nebraska, who everybody picked to be undefeated at this point in the season. First ever top 5 ranking for the Cornhuskers. They are 20-0. They're 9-0 in the Big Ten, and they're going to Chrysler tonight to take on Michigan. Jimmy, and Michigan, who is favorite to win the national championship, 18-1, is a now 11.5-point favorite over undefeated Nebraska. I know the game's in Ann Arbor, but man, that's awfully strong for a pair of teams that have one loss between them.
Public dog. It's going to be a pros versus Joes bet in that one. I'm gonna take the Wolverines, man, and try and pop this bubble here that Nebraska's living under. They do seem to get behind for a little bit. You know, whether it was Oregon, it was basically tied before half. And they brust out and beat them by 20. Minnesota up 6 at home, and Virginia beats them by 23. You know, and kills them there. So I don't know if Michigan's going to step off the gas when they get them down, as they're expected to do in Ann Arbor tonight.
They've won some good road games. There was a road win against Illinois. Now, that was back in December when they started the Big Ten season early, but that was a really good win for them.
Great win.
They have won at Indiana. They've won at Ohio State. They beat Michigan State at home. They've also got a road win against Northwestern, so they've got 5 road wins in conference play so far. It almost looks like one of those what we used to call it is the bait lines. You know that they're throwing this thing out there. They are begging you to take Nebraska and all of these.
Well,
points.
we knew these were coming. I mean,
we did. This is not a surprise, but
they've you know, the NATs or the Ken Palms. I mean, they're slow to warm up to Nebraska. Okay. It's going to be one of them. And they really haven't played. Well, that Illinois at Illinois is tough. You know, even Indiana, we said, oh, all right, this might be the time. You know, Matt Humans and I were talking, said, oh, okay, this might be the – they go up 16, 17 points in the second half. And Nebraska storms back. So one thing about them, man, if you kind of get lax on the defensive end when they have the ball – they got a couple shooters. You better not just give them clean looks.
I was going to
They are going down.
Are they really good? I mean, everything I've seen, and I have not watched them. Tonight will be the first time I sit down and watch from, you know, front to back on Nebraska.
You're not going to see a lot of their guys being on any draft boards. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. Because the resume holds up. I mean, this is a top 40 strength of schedule. They've got 5 road wins in the conference. They have 6 Q1 wins and 6 Q2 wins. So on paper, there's nothing wrong with them.
Had they played the toughest in the conference?
Well, they haven't played Michigan yet. Michigan's the best team in the conference,
Okay,
I think. Yep. They played Illinois and Michigan State. That's 2 top 10 NET teams. So that's pretty good. One of them on the road. Have they played everybody? No.
Beat Michigan State at home.
Beat Michigan State at home.
Beat Illinois on the road.
Illinois on the road. Ohio State and Indiana on the road. Those are top 40 NET teams. They're not top 10, but they're top 40 NET teams. I'm anxious to see it. I haven't had a chance to watch Nebraska yet. Tonight,
they smashed Creighton pretty good this year.
Smashed
Creighton pretty good this year. They're not as strong, but they're capable of having a good game or so.
That'll be the highlight.
Hadn't played Texas Tech. No, that's in the Big 12.
That's Big
12. 10.
Yeah.
So Purdue, you said.
Purdue is 10th in the net. They haven't played them yet.
Okay, they haven't played them.
Who else is left on their schedule? They do play Illinois again at home. They get the return trip there. And outside of that, probably the next best team they will play. They got 2 games with Iowa, who's a top 25 NET team. So it's Michigan. They got another game with Illinois. They do play Purdue at home. They get them in Lincoln, and then they got a pair of games with Iowa.
They go to L.A. to play Southern Cal and UCLA.
Yes, they make right there at the end of the regular season, second to last and third to last games. They make the California swing.
They're going to lose a few conference games.
Yeah, we don't. I don't expect them to go undefeated. I don't expect them to win tonight.
What a favorable season! They've never won a tournament game.
Can you stay Can you stay within 12? Can you stay within 11?
I don't think so tonight.
I'm anxious to see it. I don't know. I probably will bet the game. We'll watch the game without action on it, just to watch it.
I'll be on Michigan.
Be on Michigan. Okay. Laying a bunch of points. Kentucky's going to Vandy tonight. Vandy turned it around a little bit after the 3-game losing streak in the league. And Kentucky living right these days, huh? They got the win at LSU, got the win at Tennessee, got the win at Texas. All of those games were close, and they kind of controlled the game against Ole Miss on Saturday. End up winning that one by 9. They fixed. They're a 6.5-point dog tonight at Vandy.
I think it's a little smoke and mirrors, man. Kind of getting some help. Yeah, now look, give Pope credit. He has kind of changed some things. They wanted to be a high 3-point volume shooting team. He's dialed that back almost a third of their 3-pointers. They've reduced down to. So he's doing what he can. They're still not what anybody thought as far as the lofty. What were they, like 6? Preseason 5 or 6, something like that. They were supposed to be loaded, and that's just not the case. A little smoke and mirrors, coming from 17 down in Knoxville. Stole one in Baton Rouge. We know about that one. It just kind of didn't cover against Ole Miss in the other game as well against Texas. So it's just kind of this 5-game winning streak, a little smoke and mirrors for me. Vandy's always excited to play them at home. Vandy they weren't going to go undefeated. They're going to lose at some point, so they got beat at Austin. They lost again at home to Florida. No biggie there. And then they got popped again on the road, and then they finally got one at Mississippi State. They beat them by 32. I got a feeling that Vandy's going to come out and take care of the Cats pretty good tonight, minus the 6.5.
Alabama at home against Missouri. We told you on Saturday against Tennessee that without their second and third leading scorers, they're going to get their second leading scorer back. Aiden Holloway is expected to play tonight. Their third leading scorer, Amari Allen, he remains doubtful for this game. And they got, isn't it just wonderful how things work out? The hearing for Charles Bediako was supposed to be today, but the attorney couldn't make it because of the weather, so they moved it back 10 more days. So he's going to be available tonight for Alabama in their game against Missouri. Bama, 10.5-point choice at home on the SEC network tonight against Mizzou.
Missouri not a very good 3-point defensive team. That could be a problem against Alabama.
Does Alabama get those other players back?
One out of the 2.
One of the two?
One of the
Which
two.
one?
The second leading scorer. The guy averaging 17 points a game is back, Aiden Holloway. The guy averaging 12 points a game, Amari Allen, is doubtful. For
10.5?
10.5.
Lean toward Alabama, but no, not laying it.
No. And then the other game in the league tonight is Arkansas against Oklahoma. But
Oklahoma's desperate for a win, man.
They are. They're a small dog at home, 2.5 points. Thought Arkansas sloppy on Saturday against LSU. Got beat on the offensive boards pretty good. Threw a number of balls. There were at times they were throwing balls that into the stands. It just looked like they were kind of going through the ball. And then, in the latter portions of the second half, they exerted themselves and they got the win. They were better, but far from a clean game against LSU on Saturday.
Oklahoma, what was the game? That they had a lead and then they blew it at home. Who was that?
Oklahoma at home blew a lead.
I know they lost a tough
against
one
Alabama. That was a couple of Saturdays ago.
Yes,
right before we were watching right before we were watching divisional playoffs. We were watching it down at Bally's.
Right.
They lost that game 83-81, and the game go to overtime. I think it did. It was close throughout the last 4 or 5 minutes, and Alabama ended up getting the win by a couple. Oklahoma won their SEC opener by 16 against Ole Miss. They haven't won since, and a couple of close ones. They lost as hard as you can lose Saturday.
That's brutal.
Logo 3 at the regulation horn, and another 3 at the overtime horn to beat them. That's okay. Put that one in your memory. Try to get past that one.
I mean, why don't you foul them? Why don't you foul them? Put them at the line when they were down 3.
Yeah, it was a very nice design. I thought that what Missouri was trying to do to have the shooter trail and be able to get him the ball both times. Although, look, I said this after the game. You're Oklahoma. I'm going to let that guy shoot from where he shot. He made it. Okay. Well, how many is he going to, even unguarded? How many of those shots is he going to make from that logo? That's whatever it is, 40 feet.
I see more make it from the logo than miss the free throw and get the putback. That's what I see.
Well, they gotta get that out of their head.
How many times you seen it this year? They did happen once. It was in Athens, Georgia. Auburn was down 4.
Mm-hmm.
Guy got fouled. Made 2 free throws. He had 3, so he's got to miss the third one, and he misses it, and it comes off. The guy gets it and puts it back in. So that was one that fouling the shooter. It didn't work. They still got the game into overtime, and they still won it, but that's the only one I've seen this year. Most times, if you, and I understand the coaches are scared to death when you're about to foul, the guy takes it and shoots it, and you foul him shooting a 3, and that's the biggest reason why not everybody does it. But if you trust your players to foul before they can get into a shooting position, keep in mind there is a continuation element in college basketball, and you can get fouled. You keep going without putting the ball in the glass and make a move to the goal. You're going to get your free throws or your shot. They will count it. Continuation, big emphasis this year in college basketball.
Those are 3 games in the league tonight, Southeastern Conference basketball, plus a big one up in Ann Arbor, number 5 against number 3. We're live here at Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at Mike Anderson's live at lunch. So with Joe Brady going down, we're down to 2 head coaching jobs, Max? You find your Browns head coach yet?
Well, I thought it was going to be Nathan Schillhouse, the Rams assistant, but he interviewed yesterday, left without a job, went to the Bills for an interview himself, and they apparently really want Jim Schwartz to stay on. That's causing some issues with head coaching candidates, so it's likely between Jim Schwartz, their current Browns defensive coordinator, and Nate Schillhouse.
And when you say they really want him, you mean
the owner.
The owner. Okay.
Sorry.
Well,
yes.
If Jimmy Haslam wants it, that's probably what he's going to get. It's not a good ownership group, but it's not because they're cheap. It's more likely because they're just kind of impulsive. They've got a different problem than Cincinnati. Cincinnati's owner's cheap. Cleveland's owner's not cheap, but he's far from stable. We'll call him your Browns because you do a lot of shows in Cleveland. You produce shows in Cleveland.
He brought in Watson. I mean, he's not well liked there, but he does spend money. It's not because of a lack of monetary investment.
Well, we've seen other owners spend money. It helps. Usually, you're accumulating talent. Now, what happens after that? I mean, the Mets spent a bunch of money last year, too. They didn't exactly set the world on fire. Schwartz gets that job, and asks the same thing in Buffalo. All right, what's different at that point?
It didn't work well in Detroit with him. That doesn't mean it can't work this time, but, I mean, he's a good DC. But
is it possible that Deshaun Watson will quarterback for them next year?
It sounds like they're more likely than not going to have him on their roster next year.
Because, they got to pay for him anyway. Yeah. When he left the last time, it was like, not only is it the last time we're going to see him in Cleveland, that might be the last time we see him, period, given how badly his play had declined, plus the off-the-field stuff. But they got to pay him anyway, and it's not like they found another quarterback.
I mean, are they going to draft a quarterback on day 2 and draft them? I don't know.
They did
tough.
that.
They could draft.
They did that last year. They took one on day 2 and one on day 3, right?
They have 2 first-round picks this year, so maybe you'll see Simpson later in the first or something go there. But
Dylan Gabriel goes back. Shedeur Sanders goes back. Their quarterback room is Gabriel, Sanders, and Deshaun Watson.
Doesn't really make much sense. No.
I don't know. I don't even know who the favorite is. If those 3 are all healthy and ready to go on the first day of camp, who's the favorite to be the starter?
I'd say Shedeur, but that'd be my guess.
That's what I'm signing up for if I go to Cleveland.
There's a reason it's still open. A lot of the top names have passed on that job.
Well, again, your quarterback salary anchor is in there for somebody that can't play or hasn't been able to play, and when he has played, he hasn't been any good.
There are 2 other jobs available, by the way. Arizona and
I forgot about Arizona. I thought it was just them and the Raiders. I forgot about Arizona. Also, without a quarterback right now because we don't think Kyler Murray is going back. Thanks to our friends here at Mike Anderson's for being our host today. Tomorrow we will be at Roca Pizzeria on Government Street in Mid-City. For Max, for Jimmy. Jordan back in the studio. I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Live at lunch on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.